benim adım Mehla.
Benim adım da Ehsan.
Ve bu yeni Türkçe konuşma kursuna hoş geldiniz.
Welcome to the Conversational Turkish course. In each lesson, you're provided with one conversation and then you learn grammar tips and many things about Turkish conversation and culture. All the vocabs and expressions are explained in details. So, if you want to learn Turkish with us, let's start off.
Hadi başlayalım.
Merhaba, ben yeni bir öğrenciyim.
Merhaba, hoş geldin. Adın ne?
Adım Aygül. Senin adın ne?
Adım Kerem. Kaç yaşındasın?
27 yaşındayım. Sen kaç yaşındasın?
22 yaşında.
Let's check the expressions and vocabulary in Conversation 6. After merhaba, you hear ben yeni bir öğrenciyim. Means I'm a new student. Yeni means new. For example, yeni araba means new car. Öğrenci means student. As I had said before, indefinite article is placed between adjective and noun. For example, in order to say a new student, you need to place bir between new and student. Yeni bir öğrenci. A new student. Basic Conversational Turkish Lesson 1. Greeting. Listen to the conversation 1.
Merhaba Ela. Nasılsın?
Çok iyi. Ne haber?
Hiçbir şey. Nereye gidiyorsun?
Kütüphaneye gidiyorum. Benimle geliyor musun?
Evet, gidelim.
You just listen to a simple conversation between two friends in Turkish. Here we're gonna analyze the most important expression in this dialogue. The first one is a most common way to say hello in Turkish, which is merhaba. It means hello or hi. Merhaba. The next one is nasılsın, means how are you. Let's take a look at how this expression is made. Nasıl means how. Nasıl. And the suffix sın means you are. This is singular form. Nasılsın means how are you. You should keep in mind that many things in Turkish are used as a suffix. You're gonna learn much more of them later. The next expression is çok iyi, means very good or well. Actually, çok means very, and iyi means good or well. Actually, iyi can be an adjective or an adverb. Çok iyi, very good. The next one, ne haber, means what's news. Ne means what, and haber means news. Haber is not plural. In an informal way, you may pronounce it like naber, naber, by omitting h sound and sticking them into each other, naber. Hiçbir şey. Hiçbir şey means nothing. Şey means thing. In an informal way, you may pronounce it like hiçbir şey. Hiçbir şey. You omit r in the end of hiçbir. Hiçbir şey. In the conversation, you hear the sentence nereye gidiyorsun? Means where do you go? Nereye gidiyorsun? Nereye means to where. You're gonna learn this grammar in this lesson. Gidiyorsun means you go. It's a singular form. You go. Gidiyorsun. Listen again. Nereye gidiyorsun? Where do you go? And you hear kütüphaneye gidiyorum means I go to the library. Kütüphane means the library, and in order to say to the library, you may say kütüphaneye. As I said, you're gonna learn this grammar in this lesson. And gidiyorum means I go. Let's review how to say to go for I and you singular. Gidiyorum, I go. Gidiyorsun, you go. Benimle geliyor musun? You hear this question in the conversation means do you come with me? Benimle means with me. Ben means I, or even it may means me. You're gonna learn how to use the pronouns later. Benimle geliyor musun? Do you come with me? Geliyor musun means do you come? Actually, the affirmative form is geliyorsun. Geliyorsun. You come. Singular form. Geliyorsun. In order to make it interrogative, you need to change it. Geliyor musun? You're gonna learn how to make interrogative form from each verb later. So, benimle geliyor musun? Do you come with me? As an answer, evet means yes and hayır means no. Evet, hayır. You hear gidelim means let's go or may we go. There's another way to say this. Hadi gidelim means let's go. Hadi means hurry up. Hadi gidelim. Let's go. Listen again to the conversation. Now you're gonna understand the entire conversation one.
Merhaba Ela. Nasılsın?
Çok iyi. Ne haber?
Hiçbir şey. Nereye gidiyorsun?
Kütüphaneye gidiyorum. Benimle geliyor musun?
Evet. Gidelim.
Grammar 1. The preposition to. In Turkish language, we don't use prepositions before the nouns. Most of them are used as a suffix, which we're gonna call them ek from now on. Using each suffix or ek depends on the only or last vowel of the noun. Briefly, in this case, if we have these vowels a, e, o, u, you should add a to the end of noun. Or if we have e or a, i, e, or ü as only or last vowel of the noun, you should add e as a ek to the end of noun. Take a look at these examples. The first one, okul, means school. Well, you see the last vowel is u, so you should add a to the end of noun. Okula means to the school. For example, okula gidiyorum. I go to the school. Şirket means the company. Şirket. You can see the last vowel is a. So you add e to the end of noun. Şirkete, to the company. Let's check some other examples. You heard in this lesson kütüphane means the library. It ends with a. So you should add ya to the end of this word in order to avoid any coincidence between two vowels. kütüphaneye means to the library. Another example, Avrupa means Europe. In order to say to Europe, you should say Avrupa'ya. As you can see, we have A in the end of Avrupa, so you should add another A, and in order to avoid any coincidence between two vowels, you add another Y, Avrupa'ya. You will learn more about this preposition and more about other prepositions in the next lessons. Listen to the vocabulary group 1. In this vocab group, you learn the vocabulary about greeting. Listen carefully.
Merhaba, selam, günaydın, iyi günler, tünaydın, iyi akşamlar, iyi geceler.
Let's check the meaning of each word. First one, merhaba, means hello. Selam is an informal way to say hello. For example, hi, selam. Günaydın. Günaydın means good morning. İyi günler. Good day. Tünaydın means good afternoon. İyi akşamlar. Good evening. İyi geceler. Good night. Listen again to this vocabulary group.
Merhaba, selam, günaydın, iyi günler, tünaydın, iyi akşamlar, iyi geceler.
Vocabulary group 2. In this group, you learn some vocabulary about how to ask how are you and how to answer it. Listen carefully.
Nasılsın? Nasılsınız? İyi, iyiyim, çok iyi, çok iyi değil, fena.
Let's check the meaning of each word in vocabulary group 2. First one, you know this. Nasılsın means how are you. This is the singular form. Nasılsınız? How are you? Or how are you plural. When you use the plural form, you may want to show respect to your audience. For example, to an elder one. Nasılsınız? Next one is iyi means good or well. It can be an adjective or an adverb. İyiyim means I'm fine or well. Çok iyi, very good. Çok iyi değil, not so good. And fena means bad or terrible. Listen again to this vocabulary group.
Nasılsın? Nasılsınız? İyi, iyiyim, çok iyi, çok iyi değil, fena.
Basic Conversational Turkish. Listen to formal speaking. Listen to the conversation between two persons speaking formally to each other.
Merhaba Emir Bey, nasılsınız?
İyiyim. Çok teşekkürler Nazlı Hanım. Siz nasılsınız?
Ben de iyiyim. Sizi burada görmek çok güzel.
Ben de sizinle tanıştığıma memnun oldum.
Let's check some expressions in this dialogue. First one. You learned this in the previous lesson. Nasılsın means how are you? It's a singular form. The plural form is nasılsınız? How are you? As I said before in the previous lesson, you may use it for plural form, for example, 2 or 3 persons, or you want to show respect to one person, for example, an elder one or the someone that you don't know. Nasılsınız means how are you? İyiyim means I'm fine. You learn that iyi means good or well. The suffix im in the end of I means I am. The conjugation of the verb to be in Turkish is used as suffix. You're gonna learn it later. Ben de iyiyim. I'm fine too. De means too or also. And you have learned ben means I. Ben de, me too. And siz means you, the plural form. In this lesson, you will learn most of pronouns, mainly the subjective ones. Listen to these two words. Burada, orada means here and over there. Informally, you can pronounce them as burada, orada. Here, over there. You hear an expression in the dialogue. Sizi burada görmek çok güzel. Means nice to meet you here. Literally, it means it's so beautiful to see you here. Listen again. Sizi burada görmek çok güzel. Another expression that you hear. Sizinle tanıştığıma memnun oldum means nice to meet you. You have learned in previous lesson benimle means with me. Here sizinle means with you plural. With you. It literally means I'm so glad to be familiar with you or to get familiar with you. Sizinle tanıştığıma memnun oldum. As an answer you may say ben de sizinle tanıştığıma memnun oldum. You learn ben de means me too. So it means nice to meet you too. Ben de sizinle tanıştığıma memnun oldum. Literally means me too. I'm glad to get familiar with you. Listen again. Ben de sizinle tanıştığıma memnun oldum.
Merhaba Emir Bey, nasılsınız?
İyiyim. Çok teşekkürler Nazlı Hanım. Siz nasılsınız?
Ben de iyiyim. Sizi burada görmek çok güzel.
Ben de sizinle tanıştığıma memnun oldum. Grammar 2. In this grammar, you learn the subjective pronouns and demonstrative ones. First one. Subjective pronouns. Singular subjective pronouns include ben means I, sen means you singular, o means he or she, or even it may mean it. Plural pronouns. Biz means we, siz means you all, and onlar means they. Listen again. Ben, sen, o. Biz, siz, onlar. I will explain more about these subjective pronouns later. But another thing that you should know about pronouns are demonstrative pronouns or demonstrative adjectives. First one is bu, means this. Another one, şu, means this too. And o means that. Şu doesn't indicate the distance. It may be far or close to you. Here are some examples. For example, bu masa means this table. O zaman. That time. Listen again. Bu masa. This table. O zaman. That time. Bu kitap. This book. Şu kalem. That pen. Or this pen. Listen again. Bu kitap. This book. Şu kalem. That pen. Vocabulary group 3. This vocabulary group contains some vocabulary about honorifics. Listen carefully.
Efendim, hanımefendi, beyefendi, hanım, bey, bay, bayan.
Let's check the meaning of each word in this vocabulary group. First one, you hear efendim. It may mean Mr., Mrs., or it can be an answer when someone calls you. For example, in such a case, efendim means I hear you, I listen to you. Hanımefendi means Mrs. or Miss. You can call a woman simply by saying hanımefendi. The same for beyefendi means Mr. You can call any male one just by saying beyefendi, Mr. Focus on this part. Hanım, hanım. You should learn how to use honorific words in Turkish. It may be complicated. First of all, you use first name plus hanım means Mrs. For example, Aylin Hanım, Mrs. Aylin. The same for bey, first name plus bey. Ahmet Bey means Mr. Ahmet. Bay plus surname. For example, Bay Zorlu means Mr. Zorlu. And bayan plus surname. For example, Bayan Tandoğan, Mrs. Tandoğan. You should repeat and use them in order to profound your learning about honorifics in Turkish. Listen again to this vocabulary group.
Efendim, hanımefendi, beyefendi, hanım, bey, bay, bayan.
Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 3. Let's go. Listen to the conversation 3.
Günaydın Kemal. İşine gidiyor musun?
Evet, ama ondan önce bankaya gidiyorum.
Banka yakın mı?
Hayır, taksiyle gidiyorum.
Peki, benimle gel, arabam var.
Teşekkürler, gidelim.
You just listened to a conversation between two friends. Here, we're gonna analyze the expressions and the vocabulary in this conversation. First of all, you learned that günaydın means good morning. Gün means day and also it means morning. In order to say good day, you should say iyi günler. You already knew these two words. Günaydın, iyi günler. Also you hear this question. İşine gidiyor musun? Means do you go to your work? İş means job or work. İşin means your work. You learn that how you should use the preposition to. You need to add e or a to the end of a word depending on the last or only vowel of the noun. For example here, işine, to your work. Gidiyorsun means you go. In order to make it interrogative, you should say gidiyor musun? Do you go? So işine gidiyor musun means do you go to your work? Ama means but. Ondan önce means before that. You learned that o is a demonstrative pronoun means that. Ondan means from that and onca means prior. So you need to use this formula. You need to add noun plus ek, which is done or then, and then onca. Noun plus done or then onca means before. Ondan önce, before that. Bankaya gidiyorum means I go to the bank. Banka means bank in Turkish. So in order to say to the bank, you should say bankaya. We add ye sound because there is a vowel in the end of banka. Bankaya gidiyorum. I go to the bank. Banka yakın mı means is the bank nearby? Yakın means near. You need to add m to the end of some words in order to make it close interrogative sentence. Yakın mı? Is that near? Banka yakın mı? Is the bank nearby? And you hear taksiyle gidiyorum means I go by taxi. Taxi means taxi, and in order to say by or with something, you need to add le or la. This is a grammar which you will learn in this lesson. Taksiyle, by taxi. Peki means alright. You learn benimle gel means come with me. Gel is imperative form and singular means come. Benimle gel, come with me. Arabam var means I have car. Araba means car. Arabam, my car. And the verb varmak, which there is no conjugation for present tense, just to place var means there is. It literally means there is my car. But it's translated I have car. Actually, in Turkish we don't have any verb meaning to have. You'll learn about this structure later. Teşekkürler means thanks. There's another way to thank. Teşekkür ederim means thank you. Literally means I thank you. As an answer, you may say rica ederim means you're welcome or no worries. Listen again to this conversation. From now on, you understand completely the expressions and vocabulary in this conversation.
Günaydın Kemal. İşine gidiyor musun?
Evet, ama ondan önce bankaya gidiyorum.
Banka yakın mı?
Hayır, taksiyle gidiyorum.
Peki, benimle gel, arabam var.
Teşekkürler, gidelim. Grammar 3. The preposition with or by. Just like the preposition to, it depends on the only or last vowel of a noun, which la or le attaches to. The suffix here is la or le. For the nouns having the only or last vowel containing the vowels a, e, o, u, or the ones having e, I, ö, ü, you need to add la or le respectively. For example, otobüs means the bus. As you can see, the last vowel contains ü, so you need to add le. Otobüsle means by bus. For example, otobüsle geliyorum. I come by bus. Arkadaş means friend. Arkadaşla with a friend or with the friend. You need to keep in mind that there is no article in Turkish. Neither definite nor indefinite one. Arkadaşla means with a friend. For example, arkadaşla söylüyorum. I talk with a friend. Another examples. In the lesson, you hear taksiyle. It means by taxi. But there is an exception here. Whenever the noun ends with a vowel, you need to add ye sound and then you add le or la. For example, taxi. The last vowel is e. So as you can see, it ends with a vowel, so you need to add ye sound, taxi, and you need to add the respective suffix or ek, taksiyle, by taxi. Another one, araba. You learned that in this lesson. Means car. Arabayla, by car. As you see here, araba ends with a sound. You need to add ye, then according to a, you need to add la. Arabayla, by car. You will learn more about other prepositions Turkish in other lessons. Vocabulary group 4. In this vocabulary group, you get familiar with some vehicles in Turkish. Listen carefully to the pronunciation.
Araba, taksi, otobüs, tren, motosiklet, uçak, bisiklet.
The first word, araba, you learned that in this lesson, means car. Taksi means taxi. Otobüs means bus. Tren means train. Motosiklet means motor or motorcycle. Uçak means airplane. Bisiklet, bicycle. Listen again to this vocabulary group.
Araba, taksi, otobüs, tren, motosiklet, uçak, bisiklet.
Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 4. My teacher. Listen carefully to the conversation 4 from this lesson.
Kim bu uzun kadın? Tanıyor musun?
Tabii, o tarih öğretmeni.
Cidden? Onunla dersim yok.
Ama onunla bir dersim var. O harika bir öğretmen.
Hangi günler?
Pazartesi ve Perşembe.
You just listen to a conversation between two students in a school talking about their teacher. The first one is a question asking Kim bu uzun kadın? Means who is this tall woman? Kim means who. As you have already understood, there is no conjugation for the verb to be for third person. Actually, it exists, but it's not applicable in most cases. Anyway, kim means who or who is. For example, kim o erkek? Who is that man? Here we have kadın, which means woman. And the adjective here is uzun, which means tall. For instance, uzun kız Tall girl. Kim bu uzun kadın? Who is this tall woman? Afterward, you heard. Tanıyor musun? Means, do you know? Tanımak means to know somebody. Tanıyorsun? You know. It's a singular form. Tanıyorsun? Tanıyor musun? Later I will teach you how to make interrogative form out of present tense. Tabi means of course. O tarih öğretmeni means she's history teacher. Öğretmen means teacher. Tarih means history. This is a compound noun. Tarih öğretmeni. History teacher. As you can see, in the compound noun, a suffix is added to the end of the second noun. Öğretmeni. As you have learned, o is a pronoun for third person singular, means he or she. It doesn't indicate the gender in Turkish. Next expression, cidden, means seriously. Also, there is another expression, gerçekten, means really. The next sentence, onunla dersim yok, means I have no lesson with her. So far, you have learned benimle and seninle, means with me and with you. This is onunla, which means with him or her. As I just said, there is no gender in Turkish. Let's review it. Benimle, with me, seninle, with you, onunla, with him or her. Ders means lesson. Yok means there isn't. This is exactly opposite of var, which means there is. Here we have dersim yok, which literally means there isn't my lesson. When you say this, you mean I have no lesson. Onunla dersim yok. I have no lesson with her. The next sentence is ama onunla bir dersim var. But I have a lesson with her. Dersim var. This is exactly the opposite of the previous sentence. Dersim yok. Dersim var. Literal means there's my lesson, means I have a lesson. Here you can see a number, bir, which means one. This is used as indefinite article. In Turkish, we don't have any article or any former article known to be an article, whether indefinite or definite. But we use bir as indefinite one. Anyway, for example, kitap means the book. In order to say a book, you may say bir kitap. Informally speaking, you may omit re from end of bir. Bir kitap. Bir kitap. And also you know ama means but. Ama onunla bir dersim var, but I have a lesson with her. The next sentence, o harika bir öğretmen. She's a wonderful teacher. Harika means wonderful. Harika öğretmen. Wonderful teacher. Take a look at this. Whenever you want to use indefinite article, when you have adjective before noun, the indefinite article is placed between them, actually before the noun. Harika bir öğretmen. Wonderful teacher. Listen again. Harika öğretmen. Harika bir öğretmen. O harika bir öğretmen. She's a wonderful teacher. As you can see in the sentence, there is no suffix or any word meaning is. As I just said in some previous slides, the verb to be is not conjugated for third person singular. Hangi günler means which days. Gün means day, as you have learned in iyi günler and günaydın. Günler means days. The suffix or ek of ler or lar, which you're gonna learn in this lesson, indicates the plural form. Hangi günler? Which days? Pazartesi ve perşembe means Monday and Thursday. Now, listen again to the conversation. You're gonna understand all the expressions and vocabs in this conversation from now on.
Kim bu uzun kadın? Tanıyor musun?
Tabii, o tarih öğretmeni.
Cidden? Onunla dersim yok.
Ama onunla bir dersim var. O harika bir öğretmen.
Hangi günler?
Pazartesi ve Perşembe.
The grammar form. The plural form. Just like the other suffixes, this suffix depends on the only or last vowel of the noun, which gonna be pluralized. If the only or last vowel of the noun contains a, e, o, or u, you need to add lar, and in case it contains e or a, i, ö, or ü, you should add ler. Let's check some examples. For example, the word kitap means book. The last vowel is a, so you need to add lar. Kitaplar. Ders means lesson. In order to say lessons, you need to consider the last vowel, which is the only vowel of this noun, e. So you need to add ler. Dersler. Another example, öğretmen, which means teacher. In order to say teachers, you need to consider the last vowel, which is e. Öğretmen. Öğretmenler. Teachers. And soru means question. In order to say questions, sorular. Because the last vowel is u. Sorular. Now you can make plural out of every other nouns in Turkish. Listen carefully to the vocabulary group 5. This vocabulary group contains the vocabulary about persons.
Erkek, kadın, oğlan, kız, çocuk.
You listen in this vocabulary group. Erkek means man. Kadın means woman. In a vocabulary group about honorific titles, you learn that bay or bayan means man and woman respectively. Oğlan means boy. Kız means girl. Çocuk means kid. Listen again.
Erkek, kadın, oğlan, kız, çocuk.
Vocabulary group 6. Here's another group about the weekdays. Listen carefully.
Pazartesi, salı, çarşamba, perşembe, cuma, cumartesi, pazar.
Exactly like other countries, the week in Turkey starts on Monday, which is pazartesi. Salı means Tuesday. Çarşamba means Wednesday. Perşembe, Thursday. Cuma, Friday. Cumartesi, Saturday. Pazar, Sunday. Listen again carefully and learn the weekdays in Turkish.
Pazartesi, Salı, Çarşamba, Perşembe, Cuma, Cumartesi, Pazar.
Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 5. What's his name? Listen to the conversation 5.
Bebeğiniz çok tatlı.
Teşekkürler.
Adı ne
Onun adı Nadir.
ve kaç yaşında?
Hala 9 aylık.
You just heard a conversation between two persons talking about a cute baby. First phrase. Bebeğiniz çok tatlı means your baby is so cute. Bebek means baby. Bebeğin means your baby, singular. Bebeğiniz, your baby, or baby of you all. This is the plural form. Bebeğin, bebeğiniz. What if we make bebek plural? According to the previous lesson, in order to make a noun plural, we should consider the latest vowel in the noun, which is e. So we need to add ler. Bebekler means babies. In order to say your babies for singular audience, bebeklerin, and in order to say your babies for plural audience, bebekleriniz. So you can tell the difference between these words. Bebeğin, bebeğiniz, bebeklerin, bebekleriniz. Why? There's just one tip here. The consonant K turns into yumuşak G, which you can see in the slide, which has no sound in Turkish, whenever it confronts a suffix starting with a vowel after it. For example, bebek turns into bebeğin because of attaching a suffix. Anyway, you learned that teşekkürler means thanks. Also, you have learned other ways to thank. The key sentence or the key question in this lesson, adı ne, means what's his or her name. Ad means name and ne means what or what is. I have already explained that there is no conjugation for third person singular for the verb to be in Turkish. So ne means what or what is. Here is a possessive grammar. You can express the position with esters or without esters in Turkish. Here is example, and I will explain the grammar later. For example, for my name, the esters form is benim adım, and the without esters is adım. So in order to stress on a position, just you need to add the pronoun in position form. Benim. Benim adım, my name. Senin adın. Adın, your name, singular. Onun adı. Adı, his or her name. So, the sentence adını can turn into onun adını. What's his or her name? Another question. Ve kaç yaşında? And how old? Kaç means how many, and kaç yaşında means how old. Listen to this expression. Kaç yaşındasın? How old are you? Ben 25 yaşındayım. I'm 25 years old. So, you can use yaşındasın to address an audience, which is singular, and yaşındayım to say your name. I'm 25 years old. Ben 25 yaşındayım. You hear it in the conversation. Hala 9 aylık. Still 9 month old. Hala means still or yet. Ay means month and aylık means month old. Moreover, aylık can play an adjective role. For example, bir aylık seyahat. 1 month trip. 6 aylık bebek. 6 month old baby. Listen again to the conversation. Try to understand all the expressions and sentences in this easy conversation.
Bebeğiniz çok tatlı.
Teşekkürler.
Adı ne?
Onun adı Nadir.
Ve kaç yaşında?
Hala 9 aylık.
The grammar 5. This grammar is about the preposition in. So far, you have learned the function of the prepositions to and with in Turkish, which used to follow the same rule. Just like the other suffixes or x in Turkish, this one depends on only or last vowel of the noun. In case it contains a, o, or u, you need to add da, and in case it contains e, I, ö, or ü, you need to add de. Here are some examples. Oda means room. In order to say in the room, you need to consider the last vowel, which is a, so you need to add da. Odada means in the room. Ev means home. The only vowel is e, so you need to add de. Evde, at home. Listen to these sentences. O kütüphanede means he's in the library. Kütüphane ends with e, so you need to add de. O kütüphanede. And the last one, o sokakta, means he's in the street. Sokak means street, but you can see the suffix changed here. This is because it ends with a voiceless consonant. Here we have ke, so you need to turn da into ta in this case. I will teach you about this rule later. O sokakta is in the street. Vocabulary Group 7. Listen to this vocabulary group about numerics in Turkish.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
In this vocabulary group, you learned how to count from 1 to 10 in Turkish. Bir means 1, iki means 2, üç means 3, dört means 4, beş means 5, altı means 6, yedi means 7, sekiz means 8, dokuz means 9, and 10 means 10. Now we can count from 1 to 10 in Turkish. Listen again and try to repeat like the speaker.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 6, New Student. Listen to the conversation 6. This is a conversation between two students.
Merhaba, ben yeni bir öğrenciyim.
Merhaba, hoş geldin. Adın ne?
Adım Aygül. Senin adın ne?
Adım Kerem. Kaç yaşındasın?
27 yaşındayım. Sen kaç yaşındasın?
22 yaşında.
Let's check the expressions and vocabulary in conversation 6. After merhaba, you hear ben yeni bir öğrenciyim means I'm a new student. Yeni means new. For example, yeni araba means new car. Öğrenci means student. As I had said before, indefinite article is placed between adjective and noun. For example, in order to say a new student, you need to place bir between new and student. Yeni bir öğrenci. A new student. Yeni bir öğretmen. A new teacher. Ben öğrenciyim means I'm a student or I'm a student. As I had said before too, there is no definite nor indefinite article in Turkish. So, ben öğrenciyim means both I'm a student or I'm student. Hoş geldin means welcome. This is singular form. Hoş geldiniz is plural form or in order to show respect, for example to an elder person. In the previous lesson, you learned this expression. Adın ne means what's your name. Also, you learned how to stress on it. Senin adın ne? What's your name? Also, you learned how to answer this question. Adım means my name. As you know, there is no conjugation for the verb to be in third person singular. So adım means my name and my name is. For example, adım Emir. My name is Emir. Benim adım Emir means my name is Emir too. This is the stress form. You learned in the previous lesson as well, kaç yaşındasın? How old are you? This is for singular audience. You may use kaç yaşındasınız for how old are you all or to show respect. As an answer, you say the age and yaşındayım means I'm 8 years old. Or simply you may say yaşında means years old. In this conversation you hear two numbers 27 and 22 which are 27 and 22 respectively. In the end of this lesson, through the vocabulary group 7, you will learn how to make double-digit numbers. Listen again to this conversation. Now you understand it completely. Also, you may answer to kaç yaşındasın with your age. For example, if you are 25 years old, first of all, check vocabulary group 7 and then answer it as 25 yaşındayım.
Merhaba, ben yeni bir öğrenciyim.
Merhaba, hoş geldin. Adın ne?
Adım Aygül. Senin adın ne?
Adım Kerem. Kaç yaşındasın?
27 yaşındayım. Sen kaç yaşındasın?
22 yaşında.
Grammar 6. The verb to be or olmak in simple present. Before you learn how to conjugate this verb in Turkish in simple present, you need to know a rule which is so common or so practical in Turkish, which is a harmony or which is a correspondence between the suffix and the last vowel of the noun. So far, you have learned one of them for the preposition in, with, and to. From now on, I'm gonna teach you another rule. In case the only or last vowel of the noun contains a or e, you should use a suffix containing e. In case it contains a or e, you should use a suffix or ek containing e. And if the last or the only vowel of a noun is o or u, the suffix would be u. And in case it is e or ü, which are soft vowels, you may add a suffix containing ü. But this is a basic for the more suffixes. For first person singular, which is ben or I in English, you use the suffixes which are im, or üm. As I said, or as it clear, they correspond with the only or last vowel of the noun. Let's check some examples. First one, ben öğretmenim. As you can see, the last vowel of öğretmen in men syllabus is e. So you need to add a suffix containing e, which is here im. Ben öğretmenim, I am a teacher. Ben üzgünüm means I'm sad. The last vowel of üzgün is ü, so you need to add a suffix containing ü. Üzgünüm. Ben buradayım means I'm here. You have already learned that you should avoid two vowels beside each other. So you need to use y sound between them in order to avoid the coincidence. Ben buradayım, I'm here. Ben mutluyum, I'm happy. It ends with u, and you need to add a suffix containing u, which is here. Ben mutluyum, I'm happy. In Turkish part of the speech, as you can see the subject in conjugation, you may omit the subject from the sentence. For example, here, ben öğretmenim, ben is the subject. You can tell that the subject is first person singular from the suffixes in the end of öğretmenim, so you may omit ben. Therefore, you may read all of these sentences as öğretmenim, üzgünüm, buradayım, mutluyum. I mean without ben. Let's check some more examples. Ben açım means I'm hungry. Ben yorgunum, I'm tired. Ben şoförüm, I'm driver. Ben işsizim, I'm unemployed. There's no need to explain that the suffixes here in the end of each object correspond with the only or last vowel of the noun. We have the same rule for second person singular sen, which means you. While the suffixes are sun, sin, sun, and sün. Why not to check the previous examples with second person singular? Sen öğretmensin. Your teacher. As I said before, you can say this sentence as öğretmensin. Both mean you are teacher. Sen üzgünsün. You are sad. Sen buradasın. You are here. Sen mutlusun. You are happy. Sen açsın. You are hungry. Sen yorgunsun. You are tired. Sen şoförsün. You are driver. Sen işsizsin. You are unemployed. Given that you know there is no conjugation for the verb to be for third person singular, you know already how to make such sentences. We will check some of them in next lessons. Listen to the vocabulary 7.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90.
This vocabulary group contains the vocabulary about numerics with 2 digits. 10, 10, 20, 20, 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 70, 80, 80, 90, 90. In order to make double-digit numbers, you need to add one of them with other numbers that you have already learned. For example, in order to say 31, 31. 67 is 67. 96 is 96. 14 is 14. Having learned this vocabulary group and the other one about numerics, now you can count from 0 to 99. Considering that 0 in Turkish is sıfır. Listen again to this vocabulary group in order to learn the pronunciation.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90.
Listen to the vocabulary group 8, which contains some vocabulary about jobs. Listen carefully. İş, öğretmen, şoför, müdür, satıcı, çiftçi, polis memuru, mühendis. Now, listen to the meaning. İş means job. You learned that işsiz means unemployed. Also, you learned this word öğretmen means teacher and öğrenci means student. Şoför means driver. Müdür means director. Satıcı means salesman. Çiftçi means farmer. Polis memuru means police officer. Mühendis means engineer. Listen again. Try to repeat after me. İş, öğretmen, şoför, müdür, satıcı, çiftçi, polis memuru, mühendis. Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 7. It's cold. Listen to the conversation 7.
Çok soğuk. Süveterin var mı?
Yok. Nerede biliyor musun?
Hayır. Senin de ceketin yok mu?
Var. Sende var mı?
Hayır. Kazak giyiyorum.
Here we're gonna check the vocabulary and expression in this conversation. The first expression is çok soğuk, means it's so cold. As I said in the previous lesson, you know already how to make sentences in this form, as we don't have something like it is or it's in Turkish. You may use only the object. Çok soğuk means it's so cold. Süveterin var mı means do you have sweater? You learn var means there is, and mı is used in order to make it interrogative. So the affirmative form is süveterin var means you have sweater, and in order to make it for first person singular, you may say süveterin var. I have sweater. In this lesson, in the grammar part, you will learn how to add possessive suffix to the end of nouns. But here, learn how to use var and yok. As an answer, the speaker says yok, which means there isn't or there is no. So var means there is, and yok means there is not. So in order to make the before said sentences negative, you need to replace var with yok. For example, süveterin yok means you have no sweater. Süveterim yok. I have no sweater. Süveterin yok mu? This is the interrogative form. Don't you have sweater? You hear this expression, nerede biliyor musun? Means do you know where it is? Nerede means where or where is. Biliyor musun is the interrogative form for biliyorsun, which means you know. So the interrogative form is do you know? Senin de ceketin yok mu? Means don't you have jacket too? Ceketin yok means you don't have a jacket. You know how to make it affirmative. Ceketin var. Anyway, in order to stress on the position, you learned you can add benim or senin before the noun which is possessed. Senin ceketin. Your jacket. Senin ceketin yok, which literally means there is not your jacket, and it actually means you don't have any jacket. Sende var mı means do you have. Sende means in you. But here it means with you. Anyway, sende var mı means do you have, literal means is there with you. Kazak giyiyorum means I wear sweatshirt. Kazak means sweatshirt. Giyiyorum is a present tense conjugation for the verb giymek, means to wear. You will learn how to conjugate simple present tense later. Listen again to this conversation. Now you understand it entirely.
Çok soğuk. Süveterin var mı?
Yok. Nerede biliyor musun?
Hayır. Senin de ceketin yok mu?
Var. Sende var mı?
Hayır. Kazak giyiyorum.
Grammar 7. In this grammar, we're gonna talk about possession, especially possessive suffix. First of all, for benim, which means my. In some of the lessons, you have already learned how to use it. while here we're gonna review it in detail. After placing benim, you need to add some suffixes to the noun corresponding to the only or last vowel of it. If it contains a or e, you add m. If it contains a or e, you add im. If it contains o or u, you add and if it contains e or ü, you add As you can see, it is completely similar to the conjugation of the verb olmak or to be, the one which you have learned in the previous lesson. Anyway, it is used as possessive suffix. Here are some examples. Benim işim means my job. As you can see, the only vowel of ish is e, so you need to add a suffix containing e, işim. It's worth to repeat that you may omit benim. For example, you can say işim means my job. Anyway, benim adım, my name. You may say adım, my name. Benim bluzum, my blues. Benim tişörtüm, my t-shirt. The same rule is for senin, which means your, the singular one. While the suffixes are in, un, and ün, we check the same nouns for this suffix. Senin işin, your job. So, işin means your job too, without the stress. Senin adın, your name. Senin bluzun, your blues. Senin tişörtün, your t-shirt. And the same rule for third person singular, which doesn't indicate the gender in Turkish. So onun may means his or her. The suffix is barely e, i, u, or ü for the only or last vowel of the noun, which we have explained in details. Let's check the same nouns. Onun işi, his or her job. So işi means his or her job too. Onun adı, his or her name. Onun bluzu, his or her blues. Onun tişörtü, his or her t-shirt. Listen to the vocabulary group 9 about the vocabulary of clothing. Listen carefully.
Pantolon, gömlek, bluz, tişört, şapka, ayakkabı, çorap, sweater, ceket, kazak.
The meaning of the vocabulary is pronounced in this vocabulary group. Pantolon means pants or trouser. Gömlek means shirt or dress. Bluz means blouse. Tişört means t-shirt. Şapka means hat. Ayakkabı means shoes. Keep in mind that ayakkabı is singular. Çorap means socks. It is singular too. Sweater means sweater. Jacket means jacket. And kazak means sweatshirt. Listen again and try to repeat after the speaker.
Pantolon, gömlek, bluz, tişört, şapka, ayakkabı, çorap, sweater, ceket, kazak.
Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 8. Excuse me. Listen to the conversation 8.
Affedersiniz hanımefendi.
Evet, nasıl yardım edebilirim?
Sanırım kayboldum. Metro istasyonu nerede?
Sokağın köşesinde var. Ama nereye gitmek istiyorsunuz?
Havalimanı.
O kadar uzak değil. Sadece otobüsle gidebilirsiniz.
Çok teşekkürler.
Rica ederim.
You just listen to a conversation between two persons. One is looking for an address in order to go to airport. Let's check. First of all, you hear affedersiniz means excuse me or pardon. Affedersiniz. And you hear nasıl yardım edebilirim means how can I help? You know, nasıl means how. Yardım etmek means to help, and yardım edebilirim means I can help. You need to memorize just this expression. Nasıl yardım edebilirim? Sanırım kayboldum means I think I'm lost. Sanmak means to think or to suppose. Sanırım means I think. Kaybolmak means to get lost. Kayboldum. I'm lost or I got lost. Sanırım kayboldum. I think I'm lost. Metro istasyonu nerede? Means where is the subway station? Metro means subway. Metro istasyonu is a compound noun. There is a suffix or ek in the end of any compound noun. Estación means station, and metro istasyonu means subway station. And you know what nerede means. Metro istasyonu nerede? Sokağın köşesinde var. Means there's one on the corner of the street. Sokağın köşesinde means on the corner of the street. Sokak means street, but in the position form it turns into sokağın. You learn the position in the next lesson. Sokağın köşesinde var. Ama nereye gitmek istiyorsunuz? Means but where do you want to go? Nereye means to where. You have learned this in the first lesson. Gitmek means to go. It's an infinitive. In this lesson, you get familiar with infinitives in Turkish. İstiyorsunuz means you want. You need to place the infinitive before you want. Nereye gitmek istiyorsunuz? Where do you want to go? Havalimanı means the airport. O kadar uzak değil means it's not that far. O kadar means that much. Uzak means far and değil means it's not. Let's learn how to make a negative form of the verb to be for singular persons in Turkish, which are değilim means I'm not, değilsin, you are not singular, değil means he or she isn't or it's not. Değilim, değilsin, değil. You will learn some more examples later. Sadece otobüsle gidebilirsiniz means you can only go by bus. Otobüsle means by bus. You learn this ek or this suffix in some first lessons. Sadece means only. Gidebilirsiniz comes from the infinitive gitmek. It means you can go its plural form. Here this verb is conjugated in plural form because the speaker wants to show respect to the person that he or she doesn't know. Gidebilirsiniz means you can go or you may go. Çok teşekkürler means thanks so much. And rica ederim means you're welcome or no worries. Listen again to the conversation 8. You have learned all the expression and vocabularies in this conversation and now you understand it completely.
Affedersiniz hanımefendi.
Evet, nasıl yardım edebilirim?
Sanırım kayboldum. Metro istasyonu nerede?
Sokağın köşesinde var. Ama nereye gitmek istiyorsunuz?
Havalimanı.
O kadar uzak değil. Sadece otobüsle gidebilirsiniz.
Çok teşekkürler.
Rica ederim.
Grammar 8. Infinitives. All the infinitives in Turkish end with mek or mak. Listen to these examples. Demek means to say or to tell. Gelmek means to come. Gitmek means to go. Görmek means to see. Gülmek means to laugh. As well, almak means to buy or to catch. Atlamak means to jump. Durmak means to stand. Oturmak means to sit down. Okumak means to read. Now you can distinguish the infinitives in Turkish. In order to make the imperative form out of infinitives, you just need to omit mak or mak from the infinitive. Better say the bare infinitive is the imperative form, but the audience is singular. For example, gelmek means to come. In order to say come to someone, gel. Oturmak, to otur. Bakmak, to bak. Bakmak means to watch or to look. And vermek, which means to give, turns into ver. The negative form for the imperative in Turkish is made of just by omitting ke from end of the infinitive. For example, gelmek turns into gelme. Don't come. Oturmak turns into oturma. Don't sit down. Bakmak turns into bakma. Don't look. Vermek turns into verme. Don't give. Vocabulary group 10. In this vocabulary group, you learn the vocabulary about the seasons in Turkish. Listen carefully.
Bahar, yaz, sonbahar, kış.
First word, bahar means spring. Yaz means summer. Sonbahar means autumn. And kış means winter. In order to say in spring, in summer, in autumn, or in winter, the preposition differs in two seasons. In spring is baharda. You know how to use preposition da. In order to say in summer, you should say yazın. In autumn is sonbaharda. And in winter is kışın. Listen again to this vocabulary group. Try to repeat.
Bahar, yaz, sonbahar, kış.
Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 9, Take Care. Listen to the conversation 9.
Yalnız gidiyor musun?
Hayır, bir arkadaşım benimle geliyor.
Onu tanıyor muyum?
Evet, o eski bir arkadaş. Adı Osman.
Peki, yakında geri dön.
Tamam, güle güle.
Kendine iyi bak.
Let's check the vocabulary from Conversation 9. The first expression you hear, yalnız gidiyor musun, means do you go alone? Yalnız means alone. Gidiyor musun is interrogative for gidiyorsun. Do you go? It's singular form. You have learned that mu in the middle makes it interrogative. Bir arkadaşım benimle geliyor. A friend of mine comes with me. Arkadaş means friend. You learned the positions for each pronouns in some previous lessons. Arkadaşım means my friend. Bir arkadaşım means a friend of mine. You have learned benimle, which means with me, and geliyor, which means he or she comes. Onu tanıyor muyum means do I know him or her? Tanıyor muyum means do I know? It's interrogative form for tanıyorum, which means I know. As I said, mu in the middle of this conjugation makes it interrogative. Onu means him or her. It's a dative form. Onu tanıyor muyum? Do I know him or her? O eski bir arkadaş. He is an old friend. Eski means old. You have learned that bir as an indefinite article is placed between adjective and noun. Eski bir arkadaş. An old friend. O eski bir arkadaş. He is an old friend. Yakında geri dön means come back soon. Yakında means soon. Geri dön, come back. Yakında geri dön. Come back soon. Tamam means okay. Güle güle. It's an informal way to say goodbye. In the vocabulary group of this lesson, you learn some other expressions for farewell. Kendine iyi bak means take care of yourself or simply take care. Listen again to this conversation.
Yalnız gidiyor musun?
Hayır, bir arkadaşım benimle geliyor.
Onu tanıyor muyum?
Evet, o eski bir arkadaş. Adı Osman.
Peki, yakında geri dön.
Tamam, güle güle.
Kendine iyi bak.
Grammar 9. Position. Just as other grammars in Turkish, you need to learn a suffix, which is here ın, in, un, or ün. If the only or last vowel of the noun contains o or ı, you need to add ın. In case it contains e or i, you need to add in. If it contains o or u, you need to add un. And for ö and ü, you need to add ün. There's a difference between position in Turkish and English. The order of the word differs. For example, ev means house and fiyat means price. In order to state the price of the house, you may say literally house's price, evin fiyatı. But you need to keep in mind that you need to add another suffix to the second noun. You can see the position suffix is added to ev, evin, and second noun receives another suffix without ne in the end. Another example. Öğretmen means teacher and ad means name. So in order to say teacher's name, you should say öğretmenin adı. Listen again. First one, the possessor. Second noun is possessed. Öğretmenin adı. Another example. Film means film or movie, and son means end. In order to say end of the movie, you should literally say movie's end. Filmin sonu. As you can see, when the only vowel of film is E, you need to add in, and as the only vowel of son is O, you need to add U. The suffixes are similar. The second one is without ne. Filmin sonu means end of the movie. Annem means my mother, and ish means job. You know how to say my mother's job. Annemin işi. Listen again. Annem means my mother, and ish means job. The last vowel of annem is e, so you need to add in, and ish has only the vowel e, so you need to add e to the end. Annemin işi. My mother's job. You need to practice it more and more, and you will learn some exceptions about this position and some changes in the consonants, and some consonants that even come in order to avoid two vowels beside each other. But here you need to learn the basic and fundamentals of the positions in Turkish. Anyway, listen to the vocabulary group 11. This vocabulary group contains some expressions about farewell. Listen carefully.
Güle güle. Kendine iyi bak. Hoşça kal. Hoşça kalın. Görüşmek üzere.
Güle güle means bye. Actually, güle güle comes from the infinitive gülmek, which means to laugh. Kendine iyi bak means take care or take care of yourself. It literally means look at yourself well. Kendine iyi bak. Hoşça kal means goodbye. This is a formal way to say goodbye. Görüşmek üzere means see you soon. Görüşmek means to meet. Görüşmek üzere. See you soon. Listen again to this vocabulary group and try to repeat after the speaker.
Güle güle. Kendine iyi bak. Hoşça kal. Hoşça kalın. Görüşmek üzere.
Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 10, Birthday. Listen to the conversation 10 between two siblings.
Selam abi. Baba evde mi?
Hayır, alışverişe gitti.
Anne de onunla gitti mi?
O mutfakta bu gece için pasta pişiriyor.
Gerçekten? Neden?
Bir gün babanın doğum günü.
Tamamen unutmuştum.
You just listen to a conversation between two siblings. Here you learn some vocabularies used in this conversation. First one, selam. You learn that it means hi. It's an informal way to say hi. Abi means brother. In the end of this lesson, you will learn a vocabulary group about family members in Turkish. Baba evde mi means is that at home? Baba means dad, daddy. Father, which is more formal, is ata. You know that ev means home, and you have learned evde means at home. In order to make it interrogative, you need to add mi in the end of it. You may pronounce it evde mi or evde mi. No difference. Evde mi? Is he or she at home? Baba evde mi? Is that at home? Alışverişe gitti. Means he or she went shopping. Alışveriş means shopping. You know, alışverişe means to the shopping. The preposition is attached as a suffix to the end of this word. Gitti means he or she went. The simple present tense is gidiyor. He or she goes. In this lesson, in the grammar part, you will learn the simple present tense. Alışverişe gitti means he went shopping. Anne de onunla gitti mi? Did mom go with him? Anne means mother and Ana means mom. It's more informal. You learn that onunla means with him or her. Gitti. It means he or she went. And the interrogative form is gitti mi or gitti mi? Did he or she go? Anne de onunla gitti mi? Did mom go with him? O mutfakta means she is in the kitchen. Mutfak means kitchen. You learn that in order to say in something, you need to add de or the to the end of the word. While whenever the word ends with k or any voiceless consonant, you may add ta or ta to the end of it. For example, in this example, mutfak ends with k, which is voiceless. So you say mutfakta, in the kitchen. O mutfakta. He or she is in the kitchen. Bu gece için pasta pişiriyor. Means she bakes cake for tonight. Bu gece means tonight. Gece means night. Bu gece literally means this night. İçin is a preposition which is not a suffix. While just like other prepositions in Turkish, it is placed after the word. Pasta means cake. And pişiriyor means he or she bakes or cooks. Bu gece için pasta pişiriyor. She bakes a cake for tonight. And you have learned that gerçekten means really. Another way to ask for confirmation from your audience is to say cidden. Means seriously. Gerçekten, cidden. You already have learned neden means why. It literally means from what. Also niçin means why, which literally means for what or what for. Bugün babanın doğum günü means today is father's birthday. Bugün means today. It literally means this day. Babanın doğum günü. In the previous lesson, you learned some notion from position form in Turkish. Here you can see baba means father or dad. Doğum günü means birthday. In order to say father's birthday, you should say babanın doğum günü. Keep in mind, whenever a word ends with a vowel, just like this example, baba, which ends in a, you need to add ne in order to avoid two successive vowels. So you don't need to say babaın, you should say babanın. Babanın doğum günü. Father's birthday. Tamamen unutmuştum. I had completely forgotten. Tamamen means completely or entirely. Unutmuştum. I had forgotten. It's past perfect. It comes from the infinitive unutmak, which means to forgot. Unuttum is the simple past, means I forgot. Listen again to this conversation.
Selam abi. Baba evde mi?
Hayır, alışverişe gitti.
Anne de onunla gitti mi?
O mutfakta bu gece için pasta pişiriyor.
Gerçekten? Neden?
Bir gün babanın doğum günü.
Tamamen unutmuştum.
Grammar 10. In this grammar, you learn the simple present tense in Turkish. So far, you have learned about the infinitives in Turkish. The words which end with mak or mak. In order to make any tense in Turkish, you need to omit mak or mak from end of the infinitive and to add their respective suffix. Here, just like other verbs in Turkish, which have their own suffixes, simple present has its own too. In this slide, you can see when the only or last vowel of the bare infinitive contains a or e, you need to add e. If it contains a or e, you need to add e. If it contains o or u, you need to add u. And if it contains e or ü, you need to add ü. But it's not the end. After adding these suffixes to the end of bare infinitive, you need to add your, and you need to add the terminals to the end of the verb. For first person singular, you need to add So it ends with yorum. For second person or you, the singular, you add sun. So it ends with yorsun. But there is no suffix for third person singular. For we or first person plural, you add uz, so it ends in yoruz. For second person plural, you need to add sunuz, so it ends with yorsunuz. And for third person plural, you need to add lar. Anyway, let's check some examples. First of all, a simple verb which is gelmek, which means to come. The first thing, you need to omit mak from gelmek in order to obtain the bare infinitive. As the only vowel in the bare infinitive is a, you need to add e to the end of it and then your. So you conjugate it with their respective terminals according to the subject. Geliyorum, I come. Geliyorsun, you come. Geliyor, he or she comes. Geliyoruz, we come. Geliyorsunuz, you come or you all come. Geliyorlar, they come. Let's check another example with an exception. Anlamak, which means to understand, is another simple verb. The bare infinitive is anla, but in order to conjugate the simple present tense, you need to omit any vowel in the end of bare infinitive. Here it is a in the end of anla, so you need to omit a. And then you add e, as the only vowel remaining is a, and then your and terminals according to the subject. For example, anlıyorum, I understand. Anlıyorsun, you understand. Anlıyor, he or she understands. Anlıyoruz, we understand. Anlıyorsunuz, you all understand, and anlıyorlar, they understand. From now on in the following lessons, you get familiar more and more with simple present tense in Turkish. Listen to the vocabulary group 12 about family members in Turkish.
Aile, ata, baba, anne, ana, kardeş, abi, abla.
Aile means family. Ata means father. Baba means dad or daddy. Anne means mother and ana means mom. Kardeş means brother or sister or any sibling. Sometimes in order to refer to sister you may say kız kardeş. Abi means brother and abla means sister. The two latter ones are more informal. Listen again to this vocabulary group.
Aile, ata, baba, anne, ana, kardeş, abi, abla.
Listen to the vocabulary group 13. Bugün, yarın, dün, bu gece, şimdi. In this vocabulary group, you get familiar with some vocabulary about the times. Actually, the times of the day. Bugün means today. Yarın means tomorrow. Dün means yesterday. Bu gece tonight. Şimdi now. In order to say later or ago in Turkish, you need to use sonra and önce after the time or a period of time. For example, 2 hafta sonra means 2 weeks later. 3 ay önce, 3 months ago. Listen again and try to repeat after me. Bugün, yarın, dün, bu gece, şimdi, 2 hafta sonra, 3 ay önce. Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 11. What to eat? Listen to the conversation 11.
Öğle yemeği var mı?
Yok, evde hiçbir şey yok.
Peki hadi bir restoranta gidelim.
Ben pizza istiyorum. Alıyor musun?
Tamam. Ama kendim fast food yemiyorum.
Ne yiyorsun?
Sezar salatası veya kebap.
You just listen to a conversation between a couple talking about what to eat for lunch. The first question was öğle yemeği var mı? Means do we have lunch? It literally means is there any lunch? Öğle yemeği means lunch. You already know what var mı means. It means is there or is there any? Öğle yemeği var mı? Do we have lunch? Evde hiçbir şey yok means there isn't anything at home, or it may means we don't have anything at home. You know, yok is the opposite of var. Evde means at home. And you have already learned hiçbir şey means nothing. And yok means there isn't. But in Turkish, you may have two negative forms besides each other. Hiçbir şey yok, there isn't anything. Evde hiçbir şey yok. There isn't anything at home. Hadi bir restorana gidelim. Let's go to a restaurant. Hadi gidelim means let's go, you have learned this. Bir restorana means to a restaurant. You already know the application or the usage of the preposition a, which happens to be in the end of the word in Turkish, meaning to. Hadi bir restorana gidelim. Let's go to a restaurant. Ben pizza istiyorum means I want pizza. İstiyorum means I want. It comes from the verb istemek. In the previous lesson, you learned how to conjugate each verb in simple present tense. This is a simple present tense. İstiyorum. Alıyor musun means do you buy? Alıyorsun means you buy. And this is the interrogative form. It comes from the verb almak, which means to buy. Alıyor musun? Do you buy? Ama kendim fast food yemiyorum. But I don't eat fast food myself. Ama means but and kendim means myself. Yemiyorum means I don't eat. It's a negative form for yiyorum. In this lesson, you will learn how to make a negative form of any verb. About kendim, it means myself. Let's learn other reflexive pronouns. Kendim, as I just said, means myself. Kendin, yourself. Kendi, himself or herself. Kendimiz, ourselves. Kendiniz, yourselves. Kendileri, themselves. And you hear ne yiyorsun means what do you eat? Yemek means to eat. Here's how to conjugate it in the simple present tense. I eat is yiyorum and you eat is yiyorsun. Ne yiyorsun? What do you eat? He answers Sezar salatası veya kebap means Caesar salad or kebap. Veya means or. Sezar salatası veya kebap. Listen again to this conversation.
Öğle yemeği var mı?
Yok, evde hiçbir şey yok.
Peki hadi bir restoranta gidelim.
Ben pizza istiyorum. Alıyor musun?
Tamam. Ama kendim fast food yemiyorum.
Ne yiyorsun?
Sezar salatası veya kebap.
Grammar 11. Negation. In this grammar, you're gonna learn how to make a negative form out of a simple present tense in Turkish. Just like the other functions in Turkish, you need a suffix to place after a noun. In this case, it is a bare infinitive. The suffixes are just like the other suffixes in Turkish, but I'm gonna repeat them. If the only or last vowel of the bare infinitive contains a or e, you need to add m. If it contains a or e, then add mi. If it contains o or u, you need to add mu. And if it contains e or ü, you need to add mü. Let's check the examples. But before, we review the formula for simple present tense, but here in negative form. Bare infinitive plus the before said suffixes plus your and plus the terminals. The first example, bilmek means to know something. You derive the bare infinitive by omitting mek. Then you have bil, as it contains only e, you need to add mi after it, and then your and respective terminals according to the subject. Bilmiyorum. I don't know. Bilmiyorsun. You don't know. Bilmiyor. He or she doesn't know. Bilmiyoruz. We don't know. Bilmiyorsunuz. You all don't know. Bilmiyorlar. They don't know. Another example, unutmak means to forget. We're going to conjugate it in simple present tense but negative form. You know the formula. Unut plus mu plus your and terminals. Unutmuyorum. I don't forget. Unutmuyorsun. You don't forget. Unutmuyor. He or she doesn't forget. Unutmuyoruz. We don't forget. Unutmuyorsunuz. You all don't forget. Unutmuyorlar. They don't forget. Vocabulary group 14. Listen to this vocabulary group containing the vocabulary of the different meals during the day. Listen carefully.
Kahvaltı, öğle yemeği, akşam yemeği, tatlı,
Kahvaltı means breakfast. Öğle yemeği means lunch. Akşam yemeği means dinner. Tatlı means dessert. Listen again to the vocabulary group. Try to repeat after the speaker.
kahvaltı, öğle yemeği, akşam yemeği, tatlı,
Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 12. How much? Listen to this conversation.
çok geç, metro yok,
Biliyorum. Hadi bir taksi tutalım.
yeterli param yok, paran var mı?
Sanırım.
Kaç lira?
15 liram var.
Taksi tutmak için yeterli değil.
Haklısın. Yürüyerek gitmeliyiz.
Let's review the expressions and vocabulary used in this conversation. First one, çok geç. You know what çok means? It means so, too, or very. Çok geç. It's too late. Metro yok means there is no subway. Metro means subway. And biliyorum, it comes from the verb bilmek, means to know. You know how to conjugate it. Means I know. Hadi bir taksi tutalım. Let's take a taxi. Taksi tutmak means to take a taxi. Biz taksi tutuyoruz. We take a taxi. Hadi bir taksi tutalım. Yeterli param yok. I have no enough money. Yeterli means enough. Para means money. Param, my money. For example, yeterli para. Enough money. It literally means there is no enough money of mine. Yeterli param yok. Paran var mı? Do you have money? Paran means your money. Sanırım means I think or I guess. This is another form of simple present tense, which you don't need to learn for basic conversation. Kaç lira means how much lira. 15 liram var. I have 15 lira. You know the formula for position or how to make the verb to have in Turkish. It literally means there is 15 lira of mine. Taksi tutmak için yeterli değil. Means it's not enough to take taxi. It literally means it's not enough for taking taxi. İçin means for, and just like other prepositions in Turkish, it's placed after the noun. Taksi tutmak için, for taking taxi or to take taxi. Değil means it's not, you know this word. Taksi tutmak için yeterli değil. It's not enough to take taxi. Haklısın means you're right. Yürüyerek gitmeliyiz. We should go on foot. Yürüyerek means on foot. Literally means while walking or Why walking? Gitmeliyiz means we should go. You don't know yet the formula for obligation in Turkish and how to use must or should in Turkish. Listen again to the conversation.
Çok geç. Metro yok.
Biliyorum. Hadi bir taksi tutalım.
Yeterli param yok. Paran var mı?
Sanırım
Kaç lira?
15 liram var.
Taksi tutmak için yeterli değil.
Haklısın. Yürüyerek gitmeliyiz.
Grammar 12. The interrogative form. So far, you have seen many interrogative forms in the conversations through these lessons. I'm sure you have understood that it uses the suffix me, mi, mu, or mu according to the only or last vowel of the noun before them. While these suffixes are not attached to the word, they are always separate. In case they follow a word or a noun which is not conjugated, they are used alone. Here are some examples. Bu araba means this is a car. Bu araba mı? Is this a car? Paran yeterli. Your money is enough. Paran yeterli mi? Is your money enough? While if you need to make a verb interrogative, you put it after your in simple present tense and then you add the terminals after it. For example, siz geliyorsunuz means you come, plural form. It means you all come. So in order to make it interrogative, you say siz geliyor musunuz? The terminals comes after the suffix. Siz geliyor musunuz? Do you come? İnanıyor means he or she believes. While there is no terminal, it comes alone. İnanıyor mu? Does he or she believe? Listen to the vocabulary group 15.
Dondurma, su, süt, pilav, kebap, et, sebze, meyve, ekmek, peynir.
This vocabulary group contains some random vocabulary about food. Dondurma means ice cream. Su means water. Süt, milk. Pilav, rice. Kebab, kebab. Et means meat. Sebze, vegetable. Meyve, fruit. Ekmek, bread. Peynir, cheese.
Dondurma, su, süt, pilav, kebap, et, sebze, meyve, ekmek, peynir.
Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 13. Why sad? Listen to this conversation.
Niçin ağlıyorsun? Üzgün müsün?
Evet, çok üzgün.
Neden?
Cüzdanımı sokakta kaybettim.
Cüzdanda ne vardı?
Biraz para ve kimlik kartı.
Ne yazık.
You just listen to the conversation 13. This starts with niçin ağlıyorsun means why do you cry? It comes from the verb ağlamak means to cry. You know how to conjugate any verb in present tense in Turkish. While we're gonna try this one. Ağlıyorum, ağlıyorsun, which you see here. Ağlıyor, ağlıyoruz, ağlıyorsunuz, ağlıyorlar. And you know, niçin and neden means why. I don't repeat them. Niçin ağlıyorsun? Why do you cry? Üzgün müsün? Are you sad? Üzgün means sad or angry. Happy is mutlu in Turkish. Üzgünsün. You are angry. You have learned how to conjugate the verb to be, which is a suffix in Turkish. And this is for second person singular. In this lesson, in the grammar part, you learn how to conjugate four plural forms. Üzgünsün and interrogative form is üzgün müsün? Cüzdanımı sokakta kaybettim. I lost my wallet in the street. Cüzdan means wallet. Cüzdanım, my wallet. Sokak means the street. You have learned whenever we have K in the end of a word and you want to add a suffix starting with D, it turns into T. Sokakta, in the street. Kaybettim, I lost. It comes from the verb kaybetmek, means to lose. Kaybolmak means to be lost. For example, sokakta kayboldum. I was lost in the street. Both verbs, kaybettim and kayboldum, are in past tense. Cüzdanımı. In the end of cüzdan, you have which means my, and which indicates the dative form. Cüzdanda ne vardı? What was there in the wallet? Cüzdanda, in the wallet. You know how to use the preposition de or da in Turkish. Ne vardı? What was there? Cüzdanda ne vardı? Biraz para ve kimlik kartı. Some money and ID card. Biraz means some or a little. Para, as you have learned in the previous lesson, means money. Biraz para means some money. Kimlik means identity. Kimlik kartı, identity card. Ne yazık. What a pity. Listen again to this conversation. Niçin ağlıyorsun? Üzgün müsün?
Evet, çok üzgün.
Neden?
Cüzdanımı sokakta kaybettim.
Cüzdanda ne vardı?
Biraz para ve kimlik kartı.
Ne yazık. Grammar 13. In this grammar, you learned more about the verb to be, especially the plural form. You have learned how to use suffixes in Turkish. And you know how to use the verb to be in singular form. As you can see in the slide, in the table we have indicated that for ben, you should use the suffixes im, or For sen, you use sun, sin, sun, or sün. But for third person singular, which is o, which means he or she, we have the conjugation while we don't use it. Maybe you may use it just to accentuate on some words. Dır, dir, dur, dür. They are not used. For plural form, for biz, you use is, uz, üz. And for siz, you use sınız, siniz, sunuz, sünüz. While, just like o, you don't use the conjugation for onlar, which means they. Dırlar, dirler, durlar, dürler. Let's check some examples. For example, yorgun, which means tired. Ben yorgunum. I'm tired. You may omit the pronoun. Yorgunum means I'm tired. Sen yorgunsun. You are tired. It's singular form. O yorgun. He or she is tired. It can be o yorgundur while it's not used. Biz yorgunuz. We are tired. Siz yorgunsunuz. You are tired. Onlar yorgun. They are tired. But as you can see, don't use onlar yorgundurlar. Listen again. Try to repeat after me. Ben yorgunum. Sen yorgunsun. O yorgun. Biz yorgunuz. Siz yorgunsunuz. Onlar yorgun. Let's check another example. Park in Turkish is park. In order to say in the park, you should use the preposition de or da. As the only vowel in park is a, you need to use da, and as it ends with k, you need to make it voiceless. Parkta, in the park. Anyway, ben parktayım. As you can see, we added y sound between a and ı in order to avoid two vowels beside each other. Ben parktayım. I'm in the park. Sen parktasın. You are in the park. It's singular form. O parkta. Also you may say o parktadır. He or she is in the park. Biz parktayız. We are in the park. We added y sound for the same reason. Siz parktasınız. You are in the park. Onlar parkta. They are in the park. Also you may say onlar parktadırlar. Listen again. Try to repeat after me. Ben parktayım. Sen parktasın. O parkta. Biz parktayız. Siz parktasınız. Onlar parkta. Listen to the vocabulary group 16. It contains some vocabulary about body parts.
Baş, el, ayak, göz, kulak, ağız, burun, parmak.
Baş means head. El means hand. Ayak means foot. Göz means eye. Kulak means ear. Ağız means mouth. Burun means nose. Parmak means finger. As an exercise, we're gonna make some pair of body parts plural. Try to say it before me. For example, in order to say hands, eller. Feet, ayaklar. Eyes, gözler. Ears, kulaklar. Fingers, parmaklar. Listen again to this vocabulary group. Try to repeat after the speaker.
Baş, el, ayak, göz, kulak, ağız, burun, parmak.
Basic Conversational Turkish. Lesson 14. Here you are. Listen to the conversation 14.
Tunaydın. Nehir nerede biliyor musun?
Evet. Onu kütüphanede gördüm.
Gerçekten? Orada okuyor mu?
Hayır. O seni arıyordu. Onun telefonun numarası sende yok mu?
Var ama telefonum şarjı yok.
Buyur. Benim telefonumu kullan.
You listen to a conversation between two friends. It starts with Tünaydın means good evening or good afternoon. Nehir nerede biliyor musun? Do you know where Nehir is? As you already know, nerede means where is. Biliyor musun? Means do you know? It's an interrogative form for biliyorsun. You know. Biliyor musun? Biliyorsun. Nehir nerede biliyor musun? Your answers. Onu kütüphanede gördüm. I saw her in the library. Onu means him or her. It's objective form. You're gonna learn about this form in this grammar part. Kütüphanede. In the library. You have already learned how to use the or the as a preposition meaning in or referring to inside in Turkish. Gördüm. I saw. It comes from the infinitive görmek means to see. It's a simple past form. Onu kütüphanede gördüm. Orada okuyor mu? Does she study the? Orada means over there. You have learned that here means burada and there means orada. Okuyor mu? It's interrogative form of okuyor means he or she studies. It comes from the infinitive okumak means to read or to study. Listen again. Orada okuyor mu? O seni arıyordu. She was looking for you. Seni means you. It's objective form too. Arıyordu means he or she was looking. It's past progressive tense. Comes from the infinitive aramak means to search or to look for. O seni arıyordu. Onun telefon numarası sende yok mu? Don't you have her phone number? Telefon numarası means phone number. Onun telefon numarası her or his telephone number. You have learned about genitive form in Turkish and how to use the pronouns before them. Sende yok mu? Don't you have? Sende var mı? Do you have? Whenever you don't have any subject for yok or var, you should use bende, sende, onda. I mean ablative form. You should use the preposition in with the pronouns. Sende yok mu? Sende var mı? Don't you have? Do you have? Ama telefonumun şarjı yok. But my phone has no charge. It literally means there is no charge of my phone. Telefonumun şarjı, the charge of my phone. You have learned about the position form. Here, the suffix is un. Telefon means phone. Telefonum, my phone. Telefonumun şarjı, the charge of my phone. Your answers, buyur or buyurun means here you are. Buyur is used whenever your audience is one person. Buyurun is a plural form. Also, it may indicate the respect in the case your audience is one person. Buyur, buyurun, here you are. It's used whenever you pass something to someone. Benim telefonumu kullan. Use my phone. Benim telefonum, my phone. Kullan comes from the infinitive kullanmak means to use. It's the imperative form, derived by omitting mak from the end of kullanmak. You have learned how to use imperative form in Turkish. Kullan, and in order to say don't use, you may say kullanma. In the end of telefonumu, you can see u indicates the objective form, as kullanmak is a transitive verb. In the grammar part of this lesson, you will learn how to use objective form in Turkish. Listen again to this conversation in order to review and understand all the expression and vocabulary of this dialogue.
Tunaydın. Nehir nerede biliyor musun?
Evet. Onu kütüphanede gördüm.
Gerçekten? Orada okuyor mu?
Hayır. O seni arıyordu. Onun telefonun numarası sende yok mu?
Var ama telefonum şarjı yok.
Buyur. Benim telefonumu kullan.
Grammar 14. Objective form. Like any other part of a speech in Turkish, the objective form has its own suffix, which may be as same as the position form of third person singular. If the only or last vowel of the noun contains a or e, you need to add e. If it contains e or e, you need to add e. Or in case it contains o or u, you need to add u. And if it contains e or ü, you need to add ü. You need to know how to make the objective form out of each subjective pronoun. Ben turns into Beni. Sen turns into Seni. O turns into Onu. Biz turns into Bizi. Siz turns into Sizi. And onlar turns into onları. Listen to some examples. Beklemek. It's a transitive infinitive, means to wait. O beni bekliyor. He or she waits for me. Beklemek means to wait. Bekliyor. He or she waits. O beni bekliyor. How to say I wait for him? Ben onu bekliyorum. The second example. Ben onu görüyorum. I see him or her. How to say I see you? Ben seni görüyorum. Let's use this suffix after some nouns. For example, ben telefonumu kaybettim. You have learned what kaybettim means. I lost. I lost my phone. Telefon, phone, telefonum, my phone, telefonumu, my phone in objective form. Ben telefonumu kaybettim. I lost my phone. Göndermek means to send. O mesajı gönderiyor. You add ı because the last vowel of mesaj, which means message, contains a. O mesajı gönderiyor. He or she sends the message. Listen again. Ben telefonumu kaybettim. O mesajı gönderiyor. Listen to the vocabulary group 17. It contains some vocabulary that you may see on your table. Listen carefully. Masa, mektup, kalem, kitap, defter, kimlik kartı, pasaport, güneş gözlüğü, telefon. Let's check the meaning. Masa means table. Can you make it plural? Masalar. Mektup means letter. The plural form is mektuplar. Kalem means pen. Pens is kalemler. Kitap means book. The plural form is kitaplar. Defter means notebook. The plural form defterler. Kimlik kartı means ID card. Passport means the passport. Güneş gözlüğü means the sunglass. And telephone means the phone. Sometimes instead of cell phone you may say cep telefonu. Literally means pocket phone. Cep telefonu. Listen again. Try to repeat after the speaker. Masa, mektup, kalem, kitap, defter, kimlik kartı, pasaport, güneş gözlüğü, telefon. Basic Conversational Turkish, Lesson 15. Comment. Listen to the conversation 15 between a professor and a student.
Merhaba profesör. Girebilir miyim?
Neden geç?
Evim üniversiteye çok uzak. Her sabah otobüsü bekliyorum.
Peki, problem yok. Gir.
Teşekkür ederim.
As a greeting, you hear Merhaba professor. Hello professor. Professor. Girebilir miyim? Can I come in? Girmek means to enter or to come in. Girebilirim means I can come in and the interrogative form is girebilir miyim? Neden geç? You know what neden means. Geç means late. Why late? Neden geç? Evim üniversiteye çok uzak. My house is so far from the university. Evim, my house. Üniversiteye, to the university. Uzak means far. And you know çok uzak means so far. Evim üniversiteye çok uzak. My house is so far from the university. Also you hear her sabah otobüsü bekliyorum. I wait for the bus every morning. Her sabah every morning. Sabah means tomorrow too. Her akşam means every evening and her gece means every night. Listen again. Her sabah, her akşam, her gece. Beklemek means to wait. You have learned this from the previous lesson. Bekliyorum, I wait. It's a transitive verb. It needs an object. Otobüsü bekliyorum. I wait for the bus. As you can see, ü is added to otobüs. The last vowel of otobüs contains ü. Otobüsü bekliyorum. I wait for the bus. Problem yok means no problem. And professor says gir. Gir is the imperative form of girmek. Come in, enter. Teşekkür ederim. You have learned this. It's a formal way to say thank you. Teşekkür ederim. Listen again to this conversation.
Merhaba profesör. Girebilir miyim?
Neden geç?
Evim üniversiteye çok uzak. Her sabah otobüsü bekliyorum.
Peki, problem yok. Gir.
Teşekkür ederim.
Grammar 15. In some previous lesson, you have learned how to make question in Turkish. In some yes or no or closed question, you have learned that you may use the suffixes mu, mü, mı, and mi. While in open questions, you should use some interrogative words such as kaç means how many or how much. Ne vakit or ne zaman means when or what time. Hangi, which. Nerede means where. Ne means what. Nasıl means how. Kim means who. There are some other interrogative words such as neden and niçin. In this grammar, we're going to review some examples from some of them. Hangi defter means which notebook. Hangi defterde? In which notebook. For example, hangi defterden yazıyorsun? In which notebook do you write? Or which notebook do you write in? Hangi defteri? Which notebook? It's objective form. For example, hangi defteri istiyorsun? Which notebook do you want? Listen again to these examples. Hangi defter? Hangi defterde? Hangi defterde yazıyorsun? Hangi defteri? Hangi defteri istiyorsun? Ne zaman means when. It literally means what time. For example, ne zaman geliyorsun? When do you come? Or ne zaman gidiyorsun? When do you go? Listen again. Ne zaman geliyorsun? Ne zaman gidiyorsun? Kim means who. For example, kim hazır? Who is ready? As you can see, we don't use third person singular conjugation for the verb olmak or to be. But you may say kim hazırdı. It's not commonly used. Kimi bekliyorsun? Whom do you wait for? As you can see, kim turns into the objective form by adding e, as the only vowel in kim is e. Kimi bekliyorsun? Kime bakıyor? Who does he look at? Kim turns into kime. The preposition here is e, as the only vowel is e in kim. Kime bakıyor? Who does he look at? Listen again. Kim hazır? Kimi bekliyorsun? Kime bakıyor? Ne saat means what hour. As you can see, some words or nouns can be placed after ne, which means what. Ne saat, what hour. Ne gün, what day. Also it can be plural, ne günler. What days, for example, ne günler çalışıyorsun? What days do you work? Çalışıyorsun comes from the infinitive çalışmak means to work. Ne günler çalışıyorsun? What days do you work? Ne vakit means what time. It's like ne zaman. For example, ne vakit müsaitsin? What time are you free? Müsait means free in term of time. Ne vakit müsaitsin? What time are you free? Listen again. Ne saat? Ne gün? Ne günler çalışıyorsun? Ne vakit? Ne vakit müsaitsin? Listen to the vocabulary group 18. It contains some infinitives of used verbs in Turkish. In order to exercise, you may use them to conjugate in the present tense or to make the imperative form out of them. Listen carefully. Gitmek, gelmek, beklemek, girmek, anlamak, kullanmak, düşünmek, doymak, dinlemek, görmek, bakmak. Listen again. Gitmek means to go. Gelmek means to come. Beklemek means to wait. Girmek means to enter or to come in. Anlamak means to understand. Kullanmak means to use. Düşünmek means to think. Doymak means to hear. Dinlemek means to listen. Görmek means to see. Bakmak means to watch. As an example, we're going to conjugate dinlemek means to listen in the simple present tense. First of all, we omit mek from end of dinlemek. It turns into dinle. And as it ends with a vowel, we omit it and we add e. Then your and the terminals. Dinliyorum. Dinliyorsun. Dinliyor. Dinliyoruz. Dinliyorsunuz. Dinliyorlar. Listen again to the infinitives. Try to repeat after me. Gitmek. Gelmek. Beklemek. Girmek. Anlamak. kullanmak, düşünmek, doymak, dinlemek, görmek, bakmak,